Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brewing with Jim.
And welcome from me, too. I'm Jim, and you're?
I'm Joseph. This is a show where we get audience questions in about any parts of life. Spiritual stuff, education, relationships, and family matters sometimes. And what we try to do, Jim, is just provide wisdom, insight. We try to help our audience out.
You said that to me. I know that.
No, I know that. But
okay.
We're talking. We're introducing the show.
We're introducing the show to the people.
We do this every time.
Well, you said Jim. Okay.
No, I know. Sure.
Let's go.
Yeah, this is a question today. This is a really interesting question. As written, the question was, should I monitor my kid's cell phone? That was the original question that came in.
Okay, all right.
But we were talking just before hitting record about this. There's a lot of aspects to this question. There's a lot of like offshoots of this question, if you will.
Yeah, there are.
It could have to do with, so easily, it could be a question about, should I monitor my kid's internet access generally? What about my kid's computer as opposed to their cell phone? What about social media, right? There's a ton of different angles. I want to leave it kind of up to you. Over like the scope and approach to it, but have at it.
There is no limit in my mind to the amount of expansion that this can be.
That's
Do
right.
I protect my kid? Well, yes.
Yeah.
That our job as parents is to nurture our kid and protect our kid. We protect our kid from the weather. We protect our kid from poisons. We protect our kid from all the things that the child doesn't know how to protect him herself, because they're kids. They're little kids until they become I don't know where little is limited, but so when do we give the kid the cell phone? I have heard recently that there are some children who receive cell phones when they're in first grade or second grade.
And you're talking like smartphones. You're talking
smartphones.
Yeah.
Smartphones.
It's wild.
I don't say that word anyway. I was smarter before I had a smartphone.
I think we all were.
Well, the kids certainly were. They could. I grew up knowing how to read an analog clock and a calendar. And now the phone does all that for me. Yeah. Okay. We are, of course, mandated not only by God's word, but by our culture that we take care of our kids.
Absolutely.
And we protect our kids. With electronics, I am going to take the position that if you make a mistake on how much you should guard your kids, guard them too much.
Yes.
Do everything you can. Now, when is a good idea? What time? What age for a child to have a phone?
Yeah.
When I was first grade, second grade, third grade.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking, I'm on the fly here right now about my age. My dad and my mom did not agree on how much I should be protected. Mm-hmm. My dad, and I think it's the dad's job almost, and certain tendency to grow the kid up right away, go out and be independent and so forth. And the mom, protects and cuddles and stays home and nurtures that way. When I was 6 years old, my dad taught me how to get onto a bus and take it down to the downtown to the YMCA in a medium-sized city in this country. Yeah. And I learned how to pull the cord to tell the driver that I wanted off at the next stop. Okay, my mother went nuts. Yeah. Because now that was our technology. We pulled the cord to get the bus stopped. But we also had nickels in our pockets that in case we needed to use a payphone. Nickel. And yes. And so we would use the payphone so we could be in contact with our parents. There aren't any payphones that I see around, essentially. Well, actually, I don't see any payphones. So I think it's important that the child has an ability to contact the parents. Yeah. Okay, there's the phone. Now, how much do we protect? There is so much that is not really worth beneficial for a child to see that is out there to be seen, and that's just on television. Yep. You can see on the news, you can see vivid results of violent crimes. Yep. You can see sex on the television.
Yeah.
You can see disrespect and rebellion on the TV. You can see protesting that turns violent. All sorts of
vulgarity.
things. Vulgarities that I believe that children should not see.
Yeah.
Let's start with the premise that a child should be innocent because the child is innocent from these worldly inputs as much as possible.
Yep.
They will have plenty of time when they are older to learn how the world works.
That's right.
They don't need to know all of these things. Why? Well, they don't have the moral capacity or the capacity to analyze things morally. They don't know what's right and what's wrong. Parents tell them what's right and what's wrong. We don't want the phone to do that. We don't want social media to do that.
Yeah.
I think that it is very important that relationships be nurtured and be cared for and be ongoing, and that requires contact with other people.
Yes.
Well, the phone can do that. The social media can do that. But it's not going to do it as well
with an asterisk.
With an asterisk.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as well done as face-to-face. I'm with another person.
That's right.
And when the phone comes out and we contact with people that we know by electronic means only, we don't have that interaction, that person to person.
Not in the slightest,
No. Now, how do we get that moral value? How do we decide what we want to do, what we want to teach the kid? Well, we can either get it from a Christian worldview, we get it from God's Word.
Yeah.
From a non-Christian worldview, it's going to be culture.
Yes.
And whatever is popular.
Yes.
And whatever my opinion is about what is right and wrong, even though I don't have a basis for making that decision.
That's right, yeah.
I am going to just go with what's popular. Well, what's popular now is every kid has a phone.
Yes.
And so your child is going to come to you and say, well, everyone has one. Why can't I have one? Or everyone does whatever they want to on their phone. Why do you have all these restrictions on my phone?
Yep.
And we are to be immune to that.
Yes.
That is not to affect us as parents.
Please, yes.
So there's the get-go.
I agree with...
Comment on anything that we've thought about so far.
100%. I agree with everything you've said. You're taking a... you are prioritizing the safety of the child.
Yes.
As you speak.
Yes.
And I am fully in agreement here. This whole topic, all these associated topics are things that I have thought about a lot as the educational technologist at a school.
I imagine you have.
We actually provide resources to parents in cases for when they ask us this question as a school, we want to be prepared to help assist this family, right? So we have thought a lot about this. I have thought a lot about this, and I could probably talk for 2 hours on this with no previous notes or anything like that, right?
Okay, don't turn the podcast off. I think he's not going to do that.
We have to really condense a lot of stuff here. I'll start by giving just sort of a blanket quick recommendation. Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation.
Okay.
That is a book that it's several years old now at this point, but at CVCS in particular, it was really influential with administrators who all picked up a copy about 2 or 3 years ago. And it was from that book that we instituted our phone-free policy on our campus. Which is
now pretty much nationwide.
Yes, that is it is spreading
quickly,
rapidly, very rapidly, and I think for very good reason. Yes. Cell phones, the internet, all these technologies, they're not just a thing. I'm rambling because I genuinely have so many thoughts at once. I'll say that they're not just technologies in which you happen to run into any kind of content that you want to search for. That is a process that we need to recognize is fundamentally changing and discipling and altering our behavior.
Yes.
It is a huge influence, perhaps one of the single greatest influences on a child's development when they have access to a smartphone. especially of course the younger that they are. You've mentioned first or second graders, I believe, with like a smartphone.
I've heard that.
That is, in my opinion, egregiously dangerous.
100% agree.
That is a horrible
and
idea.
Unnecessary.
It's completely unnecessary. I am uncomfortable with a kid having a smartphone as late as junior high, personally. There is no reason, in my humble opinion, for even a child as old as 13, 14 years old to have, if they have a smartphone, at least to have unfettered, unrestricted access to things like social media or just vaguely
That's a parent
the internet.
failure.
Yeah.
I'll just say that bluntly.
It's a strong statement, but it's hard to disagree with that statement. It feels like an abdication of responsibility. And I would implore parents listening to this to avoid that at all costs.
Yes. Having a cell phone at junior high age.
Having
unfettered,
unrestricted. There's a huge difference there because there are parental restrictions that can be applied to devices when they are purchased by the parent and initial set up by the parent. You can block certain apps, which I highly recommend. Of course, all the obvious ones you can think of. You can filter the internet access that you can set limits on, like time limits on how, the phone shuts off at 8 p.m. and it's a brick after that.
And in
what I mean?
our opinion, it's the thing to do.
100%. That if a child, in my opinion, really under the age of maybe 16 or 18 is actually Jonathan Haidt's recommendation. Any child with a smartphone there should be some level of oversight, limitations, etc. On a cell phone. The fact is, and we know this from psychology and neuroscience, that a brain is not fully developed until the 20s or even the 30s in some cases. And so we are feeding our kids' brains with essentially an equivalent to crack cocaine. It doesn't affect their, nasal passages and things like that. But the way in which it alters their brain chemistry, it alters their development, it alters their attitude, it alters we see it in schools. Just speaking, I'm blasting through so many things I would say.
Let me jump in though when you have a moment.
Yes.
Okay, you're talking about the brain. I got up this morning. I get up early between 4:30 and 5. I go down and I'm watching the news, and there is a doctor on there. His name is Dr. Amen, who is probably and is purportedly to believe the finest brain expert as an MD. He's an MD in the world.
Yeah.
I have met him, and I have had conversations with him.
Yeah.
And he has done more brain scans than anyone else alive. And he knows that's his specialty.
Wow.
He said this morning that they have discovered, he's working with ADD. Well, ADD is the most popular diagnosis going these days. Everybody's got some form of ADD, ADHD.
I believe it.
And he thinks that the diagnoses are more popular than the condition that the people have, because there are a lot of people who just throw that diagnosis on people.
Sure.
But more specifically, he is looking closely at what is causing ADD in the brain, and he said many things, but the one I remember the most is that people who are gamers and play electronic games, I suppose extensively, and that's undefined in my mind, will develop symptoms of ADD. Yeah. I'm not saying, and he didn't say that it causes ADD, but he was careful enough to say it develops the symptoms of ADD. What's the difference if you've got the symptoms?
It sounds like you've got the thing.
It sounds like you've got the thing, and that's where he is on that. Yeah, we have heard for a long time that watching particular topics, genres of videos and so forth, and specifically pornography, that it will affect the brain. And if it affects the brain from an external input, then it's going to affect relationships. And when we, from a Christian worldview, come down to it, relationships are our raison d'etre. That's why we're here, is to be in relationship with God and with each other. That now, if you don't take that worldview, who's going to deny, except some hermit, that relationships are not important or are important? Who would deny that? We are in a better shape when we are in relationships. We're better together. We're better health in every aspect of health, including mental, emotional, spiritual, 100%. And physical. If we do anything that is a detriment to the development or to the energizing and nutrition of our relationships, then we're doing something foolish.
Let me jump on that, specifically on the topic of gaming, because I love playing video games. Like I love I love playing games, and specifically I teach a game design course here at CVCS.
Wow.
So my opinion on this, just in a quick, snippet, I don't want to lump all video games together as being detrimental to our attention or relationships.
Well, I would imagine they're not all the same.
Certainly they're not. I would say, generally speaking, and to be clear, these two sort of pillars apply to things like social media and watching videos and technology access in general. There are two things that are most valuable combined with, there are two characteristics of valuable technology use, valuable social media, valuable videos, valuable gaming.
What are they?
Number one, communal. That they have a communal aspect, and I don't mean online community. I mean people in the room with you community.
Who are playing the game?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, playing video games together with someone.
Okay. In the same room.
In the same room.
Okay.
Yep. The second aspect is the difference between short form and long form games. What I mean by that is simply the duration of a session, not total amount of time playing the game, but like one particular round or match, or, picture a...
You can go to different levels?
Exactly.
Is that what you're talking about?
What I'm talking about is the difference between, let's pick on an online game in which the entirety of the game is a 5-minute match. And you play, and you either win or you lose. And then when that one's done, you start another one, and it's a 5-minute match.
Okay. Does match mean session?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, it could be like a shooting game where you've got to like kill the other team. It could be like a sports kind of adjacent game where you got to score goals, like whatever. But the fact that it's like a 5-minute thing that you just repeat, for perhaps hours on end, versus the kind of video game that might have a long-form narrative or a story. There's character development. There's interactions. It's not one short session that you repeat a bunch of times. You're actually building out like a world and a story, and with characters and stuff.
So it's like electronic literature.
Exactly, yeah. There's a lot of games like that, and there's a huge difference. There's research that backs this up, that video gaming, generally speaking, cannot wholesale lead to things like ADD or whatever, but it is the short form version of just the repetitive, I'm going to do it again, 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 and it's this short access to things where there isn't necessarily a lot of thinking or development involved in that. There's not a lot of decisions to be made or whatever, whereas say like a story-based game, and I'm speaking again so generally here, a story-based game is going to have decisions and pathways.
The short one is just a shotgun of stimulation.
Yeah. It's the difference, I would say, between spending an hour and a half watching a Best Picture nominee movie versus spending an hour and a half watching a bunch of 10-second TikToks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So we're spending the same amount of minutes watching video.
Yes.
But the kind of video and what that's doing to our heads is going to be tremendously different. On TikTok, you're just going to get fire hose blasted with opinions and laughter and maybe some emotion and
Are you saying that's
sadness.
more detrimental?
Yes.
And the parents should protect against that?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that there is value, for example, to sitting down as a family to watch a movie together.
Yes.
That is like, I would even call that good screen time.
Yes.
Good screen time exists.
Because of other people in the family.
It's
You're
communal,
doing it together.
And the characters that are in the movie are developing. They have conflict. They resolve it. There's like growth perhaps, right? As long as, of course, it's a good movie, that it's appropriate for kids and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying.
If well, there are a lot of good points there, and the parents are going to have to find a resource somewhere. I'm sure they're available. To how do I learn all of this stuff, and how do I protect? Once they have in their mind a solid idea that I am going to protect my kids from electronic stuff. And that isn't out there yet. We have a cultural problem with everybody's doing this, and I don't have a basis for my morality. My morality is based on my opinion on what's right and what's wrong, instead of some source that is the substance of standard for that. I'm an old dude, I've been doing this.
Sure.
I was a kid. I almost remember when I was a kid. And I began to read books when I was 5 years old. And books were read to me before I was 5 years old.
Yes, absolutely.
My dad was an avid reader. My sister was an avid reader. I am an avid reader. And I find enormous pleasure in doing that. Now, I ask the students in my classes, raise your hand if you do pleasure reading. Not a lot, just any. I may get one hand up in a classroom full.
I believe it.
They do not have any kind of pleasure reading. They don't know what that's about. I have had to explain to people how libraries work, where you can go in there and borrow books. Well, how much does it cost? It doesn't. The taxpayers pay for it. Well, how do they know who has the book? I'm not kidding.
I know. I fully believe this.
You can go in there and get a card. And you can give that to them. And
books are a huge victim of this.
They are
of this situation.
Reading for pleasure.
They are not. I'll say this: the act of reading is not the only victim, of course, of this whole thing. Our kids don't have attention spans.
That's
the problem.
true.
That is fundamentally the issue. And that prevents them from reading books. That prevents them from wanting to go on a long hike in the mountains. That prevents.
Well, would you
say
what I mean?
that
lack of attention span? They have attention span of a hummingbird, so that is the situation they find themselves in now. Therefore, reading is going to be difficult. Reading is going to be How do you watch a 1 hour drama that's a mystery and see everything unfold? They can't.
They can't. And this is not every individual kid, but for so many kids, it's because they have been living for years on
boom,
7-second TikToks.
Boom.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I want a result. I want a resolution. I want a punchline. I want an answer right now. If it doesn't give it to me right now, I am moving on to the next one. And we can talk. We haven't even talked about, and we're running out of time.
It's okay.
We haven't even talked about like the educational implications. The fact that in my short 10-year career alone, I have witnessed the drop off of resiliency, a drop off of just call it effort. That kids do not sit down and just put their heads to an assignment.
Let's do this.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
If it's okay with you.
Yes.
Let's summarize this, and let me start this summary by saying to our listeners,
Yes.
if you have a specific area that you would like for us to discuss,
Yeah.
let us know. Email us at brewingwithjim@gmail.com.
Yes.
And we will consider that. We'll more than consider. We'll probably do it.
No, absolutely.
And so let us know from this vast topic
Yes.
what specifically you might have concerns about, or how do I do this?
That's
but
right.
I think we've come to the conclusion that yes, you are to protect your kids.
Yes.
That's what we are here for.
Yes.
And children who are not protected, especially by an absentee dad, are going to be more likely to commit crimes, more likely to not graduate from high school. And I could go on, and those statistics are available. I would say, let us, Joseph specifically, be the expert in this.
Sure.
And I am opinionated with some wisdom in this area.
Sure.
And we
I
would
believe
be
100%.
happy to talk to you about all of this.
That's wonderful.
More of it. But in summary, protect your kids.
That's right.
And if you're not sure if you're protecting enough or too little or too much,
Yep.
err toward too much.
Yeah, lean towards too much.
Yes,
please.
even though the kid may resist it. I hate you. I don't want to live here anymore. I'm rebelling against this.
Yep.
Temper tantrum, crying, and so forth.
Yep.
That's just part of parenting.
That will happen no matter what.
That will happen, and you're putting these
no matter how
restrictions.
lenient you are, you will hear those words.
You're putting these restrictions on your child is an act of love.
It's an act of discipleship. It's an act of care.
Yes.
It's protection. It's your responsibility. It's a responsibility.
And if you need support, let us be that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Or you can go to your church, or you can go to
just gonna
so many
say that.
different
Yeah,
places
absolutely.
where you can get support. Okay. I'm
All right.
done.
We should bring this thing to a close. We could keep going on this for a long, long time.
Yeah, maybe even should. But
Maybe we probably even should. But let's wrap this up. And again, just an open acknowledgement to our audience to please reach out to us with whatever follow-up questions or other thoughts that they have. We have an email address, brewingwithjim@gmail.com,
Yes.
where you can submit your questions, comments, follow-up, anything like that you want to reach out to us about. brewingwithjim@gmail.com. Please reach out to us.
Please use it.
Thank you all so much, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye, everybody.
The topics that are covered and the answers that are offered during episodes of Brewing with Jim are designed to mine the wisdom attained from a life of pastoral ministry and care. They do not constitute professional or clinical training or expertise in the areas of counseling or mental health. CVCS and its podcast network want to provide a platform for the discipleship of our community. Brewing with Jim is our attempt to foster that environment in a format that is accessible for everyone to participate in. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during the show are the speaker's own, and they may or may not represent the views, thoughts, or opinions of Capistrano Valley Christian Schools or its faculty. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK-12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening and stay tuned for more.